The class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we're learning, there is two Parshas this week. But we will learn Parshas Nitzavim. We'll start with Parshas Nitzavim. Page 221 in these books. We're changing books from time to time, just to keep it exciting. Speak the closeness of the Torah. Here, Moses is speaking in the name of God to explaining how close the Torah is really to us. How easy is it to observe the Torah? That's what he's talking about. But let's start to read.
For this body of commandments which I am commanding you this day is not concealed from you, nor is it far away. It is not in the skies that you should say, who will go up to the skies for us and take it for us?
Then first of all, what really the Torah implies here, that if it would be in the sky, we would have to go to the sky to look for the Torah. The Torah is worth it. We should get on a spaceship to look for it. We went to the moon to look for nothing. And we found nothing. Then Curiosity went on Mars and found nothing again. And the taller higher will go will find more nothings. The Rebbe was interviewed 7 or 8 years before the men walked on the moon. The Israeli reporter asked the Rebbe, you think men will make it to the moon? The Rebbe said, yeah. When are you going to find her? The Rebbe said, if he will tell you, they will not look to go there. That's what the Rebbe said 7 years before that. But if the Torah would be, God gave the Torah on earth, but if God would give the Torah on the moon, we would have to, it was voted, the Torah is voted, we should go and look on the moon for the Torah. Go ahead.
To tell it to us so that we can keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Nor is it across the sea that you should say, who will cross to the other side of the sea for us and fetch it for us? To tell it to us so that we can keep it.
Many times people say the Torah is overseas. In Europe, it was easy to observe the Torah, in the shtetl. In Israel, it's easy to observe the Torah, everybody is Jewish. Overseas, we send God always overseas. Look for the Torah overseas. Here is easier. The Israeli will tell you in America it's easier. The American will tell you in Israel it's easier. Everyone says that overseas it's easier to observe the Torah. That God says even if it would be overseas, you would have to go to look for the Torah.
I was almost thinking that it would almost be like at the end of the sea, like the other side of the world.
Whatever it is, even if it's at the end of the sea, we would have to go and look for it.
Yeah.
Rather, this thing is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart to observe it.
Okay, then what does this mean? Let's stop right here. Don't go anywhere. This is very close to you to observe it, to you in your mouth, in your heart, to observe it. This line is the logo, not the logo, the mission statement of the book Tanya. The book of the founder of Chabad Hasidus, of the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi. He wrote a book that he put the whole philosophy of Chabad down. What Chabad means, how to serve Hashem. In this book, he says the book is founded and is on the foundation of this verse. That the Torah is very close to you, in your mouth, in your speech, in your heart, to do it. What is going on? Human beings, for generations, had a hard time with the Torah. What means they had a time? They thought that a person has to become perfect. For example, the Musa movement is to make the person, he should become a tzaddik. A person, a human being is trying, he's 20 years old, he says, I'm not a tzaddik yet. Hey, no, I'm still young. 30 years old. Give it another 10 years. 40, 50, 55, 60.
Going once.
Gurnisht. He's not becoming a tzaddik. There were two reactions to it. One reaction was, it's not realistic. The Torah is not realistic. It's not real. Forget about it. The other reaction was that basically, I forget about it. I give up. The other reaction was, I'm a failure. Obviously, I'm not good enough. The Torah says you can be this and this and this. That I'm not good enough. I didn't change myself. I still have bad desires. I still have intentions. I have temptations to do bad things. Obviously, I'm not holy. If I'm not holy, I didn't live up to it. I get depressed. And again I give up. No matter how you looked at it, it was not a good thing. It didn't bring to good results, because to become an ultimate person, a complete tzaddik, what means a complete tzaddik? As the Tanya explains, somebody who does not even have temptations to do bad. It's impossible. Then he gave up. Came the Alter Rebbe, Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi, and he wrote the Tanya, and he created a new ideal. It's called the Beinoni. The Beinoni is the intermediate guy. It's a guy, it's not a compromise. It's a guy that basically, the Alter Rebbe says, God did not create a tzaddikim. He doesn't want righteous people. He never asked for righteousness. He asked from a person to control the faculties that he could control. What can you control? You can control your actions, right? You can control your speech. It's a little harder, I must say. But you could. But you can even control your thoughts. What means you can control your thoughts? What thoughts will come to your mind you cannot control? But what thought you're going to entertain, if you're going to entertain this thought or not, this is in our control. This God gave it to us. Beficha means in your mouth, what you say. Bilvovcha in your heart, what you think. La'asoto is your action, what to do. These three things are in our control. Now the Alter Rebbe says, from the Jew is expected not to reach a level that he will not even have desires to do bad. No, impossible. Don't go there. This is for very few individuals who are born like this, tzaddikim, or achieved it. From the regular human being, we are asking from him, oh, that's where or am I? That's, people say in America, that's I am, take me or leave it, take it or leave it. Such an excuse is not sold in Judaism. I was born like this. Really? Really? We didn't know you were born like I don't know what. The job of a human being is to control himself. What's the difference between a human being and an animal? An animal does not have the power to control his instincts. He doesn't understand. His brains cannot tell him, it's not good for you, don't eat it. His brains only serve him how to achieve his instincts. That's why the animal, his head and his back and his rear, it's all on the same level. A human being stands tall. This comes first. Then comes theirs. Then comes the rest. There is an order. There's a hierarchy. Who is the boss? This should be the boss. The brains, not the heart. In America, everything is about feeling. Feels good. It doesn't feel good. Makes me feel good. I love it. I don't. It's all from here. It's time to start to think from your brains. And that's why the word melech. Melech stands for the word, is a king, the word king in Hebrew. But the word mem stands for moach. Moach means brains. Lev stands for the word heart. And chaf stands for the word kaved. Kaved is kidney. Mm-hmm. Liver. Kaved is the liver. Kaved is liver.
No.
Yeah, kaved is liver.
But kidneys, there's a word for that.
Klayot. Klayot. That's also a chaf. What does this mean? Who is a king? A king is somebody that his mind controls his heart. That's a king. You ever heard the word lemech? In the olden days, they used to tell you in Cheder, don't be a lemech.
Fool, no?
Lemech is like a fool, like a shlumiel. Lemech from the Bible was a guy who killed by accident his grandfather Cain, and then said, oy vey, and he killed his child, while saying oy vey. A lemech, a shlumiel. What's lemech? Lemech is the lamed stands first. Lev is first, then moach. If your heart controls your mind, then you're a lemech. If your mind controls your heart, you're a melech. Then what is Hashem is asking from us? The Beinoni means a guy who is constantly in a struggle, constantly fighting. And that's God wants from you. It's like a city in Iraq. One day the ISIS are in control, the other day the Iraqi army is in control. Constantly fighting, and every day somebody takes over. There is you, me, and every day somebody else is taking control of me. One day it's the godly soul takes over, and I want to do mitzvahs. You see, a person, what happened? People were thinking that they are schizophrenic. They are split personalities. And speak in regular Yiddish, meshugoyim. He stands in Yom Kippur in shul. He wants to do mitzvahs. Says, God, I will do for you everything, anything, God. Only for you, I don't need anything physical. Give him 5 minutes. He gets out after the service. The food is at the table. He pushes like there is no tomorrow. That he comes home and he's thinking to himself, who is the real me? Is the real me the guy who is sitting in shul, or the real me is the guy who is pushing after services? There is a famous story about Rabbi Greenberg. He was once in shul, Yom Kippur, and a guy was sitting next to him praying so hard, with such kavanah, with such intention. And he said, I am dost. During the service you say, God, I am dost in my life. Basically, you say that you are dost like 10 times. Then came the time to read the Torah. And he felt that he didn't receive the aliyah that he deserves. He started to scream and yell. He turned over the synagogue upside down. Finally, they gave him the right aliyah. He relaxed. He came back to his chair. Took him like 20 minutes to relax. He was so angry. He was so hurt. After he's relaxing, Rabbi Shafani turns to him and says, Rabbi, I have a question, I just heard you before saying with such kavanah, with such intention, I am those, I am a nothing. If you are nothing, what do you care which aliyah you get? He tells him, yeah, sure. In front of God, I'm a nothing. But in front of the Gabbai, I'll show him who is a nothing. then who is the real Jew? The guy who says, I'm dost, or the guy who's showing the Gabbai who is the nothing?
Both.
Then that was the problem of people. And they felt that they are hypocrites. In America, nobody likes to be an hypocrite. Then what's the truth? Yesterday my wife asked me to wash the dishes and I said no. Today if I agree, I'm an hypocrite. I have to be consistent. I said I'm not washing the dishes and finished. The truth is you're not an hypocrite. And you're not schizophrenic and you're not a split personality. You're a split personality, but there's two personalities within you. There is the godly soul and there is the animal soul. And you are in the middle, stuck, caught in the middle. One day the godly soul takes over of you, and you are so righteous, and you're so good, and you are pleasant to be around, gold. And the other day the animal soul takes over, and I turn into a nightmare. That's what's going on.
And the same thing as Yetzer Hara and Yetzer Tov, or different?
It's different. Yetzer Hara means wants to do evil. The animal soul is not to do evil. The animal soul wants to eat, wants to survive. The instinct of survival is an animal instinct. It's not bad, but it's about me. Anything that's not about God is about me. Not bad, I have to eat, right? Sure you have to eat, but you worry about you, not about anybody else, about myself, not about God. Then it's me or God, constant struggle. And in this struggle, nobody is expecting of us to forget about ourselves. It's only God. I wake up in the morning and say, God, what do you want? For 5 minutes, maybe. 3 minutes. 2.5 minutes. Maybe a minute sometimes. And right away you change your mind. It's all about keeping going the struggle. Keeping fighting. I lost yesterday the fight in the struggle. I start again today. It's almost the best example is somebody is a alcoholic, a recovered alcoholic. Every day he has a struggle not to do it. Every day he's overcoming his urges. Every day he has to deal with his depressions. And it's constant a fight. It never goes away. The fight between your godly soul and your animal soul, I have some news for you, will never go away. It's going to be there when you are a little boy and you want a candy, when you have a long white beard and you are so holy, everybody else thinks that you are very holy. You know you're not so holy. And I'm telling you right now, when you're 97 years old, it'll be a struggle. The only different, what will be the struggle about? Meanwhile, you make some progress. That's the point. It's almost like a spiral. You're going up the stairs, you go around and around, around and around, around and around. I remember I went once, my sister, to in New York, what it's called, the Statue of Liberty. We went around and around and around and around and around. We walked the steps, and then we came up to the top. I saw just people take a picture. There's a little loch, a little small window. Take a picture. I said, "That's what I'm waiting for 4 hours to get there." That was the first and the last time I went on.
I think it's closed. It's open anymore.
It's open. You go around and around, but meanwhile you're making some progress. You're going up. When you're 2 years old, the struggle is to be party trained. When you're 20 years old, the struggle is to finish college. But there is always a struggle. But there is, at least you make some progress. And spirituality is also the same thing. You don't have the same struggles. Many things you overcome. You start to do a new mitzvah. The new mitzvah is a struggle. After you're used to it, now it's a struggle for the next mitzvah, for the next mitzvah. It's a constant struggle. Then that's what he says here. It's close to you. Where it's close to you? In your heart, it's not necessarily close to you. It means to say, what the urges that you have, your soul you cannot change. You are who you are. Nobody asked you to change. But he asked you to control. People say, I can't change. Don't change. They ask you to change. Don't change. Just don't do it. I can't change. I enjoy to shoplifting. I can't change. You throw you out of the world, will throw you. But you're in jail, you cannot change. What do you want? I can't, when you say to people, I cannot change, I must drink. You know, we don't accept it. I can't change that, I have to smoke. Nobody asks you to change. They ask you to control yourself, mister. That's it. Your action you can control, your mouth I can control, and my thoughts I can control. And you know what? Now we'll take it a little. These three things, they are called levushim, the garments of the soul. They are the expressions how the soul expresses itself. It's not the soul itself. It's how the soul relates to other people, to the world, with your thoughts about others, with your speech about to speak to others, and your action to others. Ultimately, if you immerse yourself in a good world, these thoughts will not even come to you. You understand? They will not even fall in your mind. For example, doesn't come to your mind. You don't just get an urge one day, I'm taking my gun, I'm going to kill this guy. It just doesn't come to you, right? Because you're so far from this world. And when you read about it in newspaper, you take it, I can't believe people do such things. I just cannot understand it. It's so far from you that it doesn't enter your mind. If you immerse yourself in a positive world, in world of Judaism, a world of spirituality, in world of prayers, in world of good deeds, then much less bad thoughts will come to you. Believe me, if you will not read the newspapers for a month, you would be the brain pollution will be much cleaner. You have to go green here before we go green in the world. That's what you have to go green. And that's what he says here. That's why this line is the mission statement of Chabad. It's very close to your will, in your mouth, in your thoughts, and in your action. Don't give me say, I cannot do it, I cannot change. Because we cannot change. I don't even ask you to change, but you better put up a good fight. Let's read it now. This little paragraph on Spark of Hasidus. You want to read?
Where is that here?
On page
Oh.
221, Spark of Hasidus.
At first glance, the statement that this thing is very near to you in your heart appears to be contrary to our experience, and yet the Torah is eternally relevant. That it is simply not a very near thing to transform one's heart desires from wanting worldly pleasures to sincere love of God. However, the words "to observe it" at the end of the verse qualify what is written at the beginning of the verse. That we are speaking here merely of a love which is sufficient to bring about the practical observance of the commandments, even if it is not palpable in his heart like a burning fire. And this is indeed very near, and easy for any person who has a brain inside his skull, since a person's mind is under his control, and he is free to think about whatever he pleases on any subject. So when will he use it to think about the greatness of God? He will inevitably generate, in his mind at least, a love of God, sufficient to make a person want to cleave to him through the performance of his commandments and the study of his Torah.
Then everybody can do it. You can do it. Well, where's this? I think there is a slogan somewhere.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just do it. This slogan is, you can do it. I can't, I will not. Everybody can do it. That's one thing we learn from this paragraph. Right before, in number 13, we said, in number 12, it's not in the heavens. The Torah is not in the heavens. On a simple level, it means to say it's very close to you. It's not in the heavens. There is a story in the Talmud who took it in a whole different direction. And that's what we're going to learn now.
Before we get to this story, there are those who say, for example, smoking addictions and things like that, where people claim they can't control their behavior. How does that play into this thought?
What do you mean they can't? If I put a gun in front of them, they would be able to. If I will give them $1 million, would they be able to?
Again, it all depends on what can't mean.
There is no such thing. I don't believe in can't. Can't is a matter of a price, physics, material, a money price. People tell me sometimes I don't have time. Even my brothers or Chabad rabbis tell me I don't have time. I told them, if I give you for this job that I'm telling you to do now $500, will you have time? That you have time for whatever you want. Question if it's worth it for you or not. Fine, it's okay. But there is certain words that are just not true. I have time for whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. Even, you're right, many people, for example, even you don't have to go even to smoking addiction. Even people who are overweight will tell you it's very, very hard to lose weight. But is it impossible? It's possible. It's a matter of self-control. And that's what really, the whole idea of a Jew is to be in control of over himself. That's what Judaism is all about. That's what Chassidus is all about, is to train you how to be in control. What's the whole mitzvahs? Hillel said that the whole Torah is don't do to others what you don't want to do to yourself. The rest is a commentary. Then the Alter Rebbe in the Tanya is actually asking, how is this exactly a commentary? How is putting on tefillin a commentary to be nice to you? What is this connection? How saying the blessing over the lulav is a commentary not to be nasty to my friend. Don't do to others with other people. What's the connection? So the Alter Rebbe says a brilliant thought. He says every mitzvah trains you to control yourself, not to do what you want. I'm not in the mood to put on film today. You're not the first one, you're not the last one. I still do it. Right? Then what is this teaching me? I don't do what I want, I do what I need to do. That means I am not the center of the universe. Every time I train myself that I am not the center of the universe, it's easier for me to remember that you are the center of the universe, that I should be nicer to you, because I learned already to control myself. A child, look, people are big smokers in the religious community. Shabbos, they have no problem, they don't smoke. What happened? Obviously, when you want, you don't smoke. Because it's not allowed, finished. No discussions.
Well, a true addiction might be something that's, like a chemical thing in the brain.
But even the religious chemical problems, they don't drink on Yom Kippur, right? How they can survive 24 hours? They survive. And if he's more religious, he doesn't drink on Tisha B'Av either. And he doesn't drink on the 10th of Tevet either. Obviously you could. And on Pesach he doesn't drink because there is no alcohol. Shine. He survives. That shows us that it's possible. Yeah, easy it's not. I'm the first one to tell you it's not easy. You're sure to do exercise. You have to be crazy to do exercise. You're running where? Nowhere. Where are you going? Nowhere. I cannot bear the thoughts of going nowhere.
Nowhere.
Then what I mean to say is, that's the idea to all the addictions that exist in the world. For sure it's hard. I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do. But what I mean to say, that's what it's all about. The whole Torah is to train you to be in control over yourself. The more you're in control over yourself, the nicer you'll be to the people around you. The more successful you'll be. A customer is driving you up the wall. Now you have two options. If you let yourself go, you blow up on them. You gave it to him, and you are right, 100%. You lost them, and you lost all the people that he's going to tell them that you're bad. If you have self-control, you control the world. The Rebbe controlled millions of people, hundreds of thousands of Jews who wanted to hear what he has to say because he didn't control anybody. He had self-control. He never controlled anybody. But out of his amazing self-control, people wanted to hear from him. Then Ezeu Gibor, the Mishnah says, who is a strong man, who is a very strong man, a Kovesh Yitzro, one who controls his own inclinations. You have the world on your fingertips if you control yourself. Because in an argument, who wins the argument? The one who doesn't scream. Self-control. Wherever you go, it's about food, it's about life, it's about exercise, it's about everything. You will live longer. If you have self-control, you live longer. I mean, and so on and on and on. The list doesn't end.
Could you be addicted to learning, like Torah?
In essence, yes. You can be addicted. Not every addiction is a bad addiction. But in general, to be addicted is not such a good thing. Because it means to be addicted, it means you again doing what you want, not what you need to do. Because sometimes you have to, for example, there is a mitzvah that cannot be done by another person. You have to stop your learning Torah and go to do the mitzvahs. But you scream, I'm addicted to learn Torah. No, I tell you, now it's time to daven. Now it's time to, there is another Jew who needs to learn alphabet. No, I love to learn the Talmud. I'm learning all day. I don't. That's selfishness. Within Judaism, within spirituality, could also be selfishness. The Yetzer Hara doesn't run away. He goes with you to shul. He goes with you to the yeshiva. He's going with you everywhere. There's a famous story about Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berditchev when he was a young man. His father-in-law was a rich man. Then he, by Simchas Torah, they used to have the custom to sell. They read lines. Everyone read before the akafot, before you dance with the Torah, you read a line. We read it also in our shul. We give everyone to read a line. In the real shuls, in the old-style shuls, they used to auction it out. But his father-in-law bought one verse for him, and you used to go up to the bime, put on a talis, and read the line. Okay, his father-in-law bought a verse and tells my young son-in-law, that's for your idea. Go up, goes up at the bime, puts on the talis. Shockling there, stands there. He doesn't say anything. The whole crowd is, people, Jews are never patient, no, we have to move on, we have to go home. Finally, he takes off the talis, throws on the bime, you say it, and he goes down. The whole shul thought that the guy is a little zudreit, Nebuch. The new son-in-law is a little off. After coming home, his father tells him, why you embarrassed me? You don't want to say, don't say, tell me I don't want to come. Why you behave like a Michigan? What is this? I told him, I tell you the truth. I got up to read the verse, and I saw suddenly that my evil inclination is happy. How are you getting honored? You're a big macher. I understand. I thought I'm coming to do a mitzvah with my godly inclination side, godly soul. Suddenly, the Yetzer Hara is dancing at the wedding too. And I saw I cannot get rid of him. I turned to my Yetzer Hara, I told him, you read it, and I walked down. But he really described the struggle that even in the world of spirituality, Yetzer Hara is right there, taking credit. He's right there, making sure it becomes an ego thing. And right there, that the most holiest thing can become a fight because the ego is right there. The ego doesn't go away from you. That's the problem. Maimonides says in everything you have to go in the middle road. But two things not. What are the two things you shouldn't go in the middle? You should go to the extreme. Humility and anger. Never to be angry. And humility all the way to the end. Don't tell me I'm a middle guy. No, don't worry. Go all the way to the end, to the extreme. Because these two things, basically they are the same. That's both of them are equal. Why I'm getting angry? Because it's me. How they touch me? And that's humility. That's all. In humility, not even a shmoino shebeshminis. That's the smallest measurement that exists in when Jewish law writes about measurements, about waters, and what is considered a beginning of something, that an eighth of an eighth, that even not an eighth of an eighth means to say not even a shred of arrogance should be in you. Because right away, it's always settling in. Oh, yeah, sure, we'll do the mitzvahs, but I will do the mitzvahs. Hey, I'm first. There is a story. One day, let's think about it. Was Yerovam ben Nevat, one of the kings of Israel who became wicked. The Talmud describes it that Hashem told them, "Come, you can do tshuva. You and King David and me will go together to in the Garden of Eden." The Jeroboam asked God, "Who is the leader, me or David?" I am first. Who is first? That's what I asked him. Who is first? If you look good, all the fights are about who is first. Are you offered? There is no deal. It's unbelievable. I see it every day. In any case, now we'll go to the story, the Talmudic story, who took the statement, it's not in the heaven, to a whole different direction. We'll go with the page, the long page. And Mr. Lang, Dr. Lang, you would like to start to read it?
Am I reading thereupon?
Top of the page.
And this was the oven?
Mm-hmm.
And this was the oven of Achnai. Why the oven of Achnai? Said Rab Judah and Shmuel's name. It means that they encompassed it with arguments as a snake and proved it unclean. It has been taught.
Okay, what happened is like this. There was an argument in the Talmud about a certain oven that they used to build in this time. In this time, they used to build the ovens. The ovens was not something you order from Sears and it arrives. They build, it's like a builder came and built an oven. And this oven was a question if it can become impure, a certain type of oven. And Rabbi Eliezer said that the oven can never become impure, right? And Rabbi Yeshua and the majority of the other rabbis said it could become impure. That was the argument. Now starts the story. It has been taught. On that day,
It has been taught. On that day, Rabbi Eliezer brought forward every imaginable argument, but they did not accept them. Said he to them, if the halacha agrees with me, let this carob tree prove it.
okay, what he said like this, Rabbi Eliezer tried to convince the rabbis that he's right. Every argument that he said, they didn't accept it. And at that time, the halachas used to be decided by the majority. They said, we have the majority, you can convince us, fine. And Rabbi Eliezer felt that he has the tradition from generations. He was from the disciples of Bet Shammai a little bit also. And he says, that's what the Rebbe says, I don't care what you think. Who are you to decide it? The Rebbe's before said it already.
Is this an oral law debate versus?
It's an oral law debate,
Okay.
within oral law.
So, is it within oral law, or because nobody seems to be arguing that coming from Sinai or anything like that? They were simply saying their
he didn't
opinions.
say.
Each
No,
one
there
says
was,
they're right.
there was opinions. What he says is, Rebbe's already made it decided. Who are you guys to make a different decision? Then what he says, he said, if the halacha is like me, he started to use miracles, superpower things. If the halacha is like me, let the carob tree prove it. How the carob tree prove it? Thereupon,
the carob tree was torn 100 cubits out of its place. Others affirm 400 cubits. No proof can be brought from a carob tree, they retorted.
okay, they told them, it moved. Whatever happened, the carob tree moved 400 cubits. Whatever it moved. There was a miracle taking place there. They told them, carob trees don't convince us. Basically, miracles don't convince us. Again, he said, continue.
Again he said to them, if the halacha agrees with me, let the stream of water prove it. Whereupon the stream of water flowed backwards.
The stream of water flowed backwards. You hear the story? When they're going this direction, it started to go the other way. Go ahead.
No proof can be brought from a stream of water, they rejoined.
They are strong guys. They are not impressed by miracles.
Again he urged, if the halacha agrees with me, let the walls of the schoolhouse prove it. Whereupon the walls inclined to fall.
They started to cave.
But Rabbi Joshua rebuked them, saying, When scholars are engaged in a halachic dispute, what have ye to interfere? Hence,
Basically, Rabbi Yeshua screamed on the walls. He told the walls, who are you to interfere? We're having a fight here. Who are you to interfere in this business? We have an argument, an halachic argument. Continue.
hence, they did not fall in honor of Rabbi Joshua, nor did they resume the upright in honor of Rabbi Eliezer, and they are still standing thus inclined.
Then they're still standing there like this. Means to say, they were like, started to move, but they got stuck. The point is, it was an argument between rabbis, and their argument was so powerful that nature was interfering in this argument. Okay,
Again he said to them, if the halacha agrees with me, let it be proved from heaven. Whereupon a heavenly voice cried out, why do ye dispute with Rabbi Eliezer, seeing that in all matters the halacha agrees with him?
oh, what happened is a voice from heaven came. In the yeshiva it was heard a voice from heaven that said, who are you to argue with Rabbi Eliezer? Who's the halacha is right in everything. God himself interfered in the argument. What could be better than that? Okay.
But Rabbi Yehoshua arose and exclaimed, it is not in heaven. What did he mean by this?
Oh, it is not in heaven. He quoted from this parsha. Loi bashumayim, the Torah is not in heaven. He took this verse and he turned it upside down. Hashem said, literally, the meaning is, it's not in heaven, it's close to you. He said, it's not in heaven, right? Right? Then it's not in heaven. Go ahead.
What
Said
did he
Rabbi
mean by
Jeremiah-
this, said
yeah.
Rabbi Jeremiah? That the Torah had already been given at Mount Sinai. We pay no attention to a heavenly voice, because thou hast long since written in the Torah at Mount Sinai, after the majority must one incline.
In the book of Deuteronomy, it's written, you go after the majority. That means that God himself said you should go after the majority. God cannot change the rules either. Done. You gave the Torah at Mount Sinai, you gave it over to human, now it's in the hand of human being.
How is that consistent with the idea of prophecy?
Very good that you asked the question. Very, very good. Can prophets introduce a new law to the Torah?
No, according to traditional thought.
No, according to traditional thought. The answer is no, according to any thought. There are 613 Mil commandments in the 5 books of Moses, and that's about it. The prophets cannot introduce a new law to the Torah. There is no law in the Torah, that no law from the 613 commandments say that's what says Isaiah told us, Jeremiah told us. Oh, this we know from Jeremiah. No.
Isn't there a difference in interpreting the law, though? Because isn't that
Okay.
what we're talking about here?
One second.
Okay.
Now, the prophets can tell us on a temporary basis to break the law, like
Elijah. at Mount
Elijah at
Carmel.
Mount Carmel. He said he offered sacrifices on the Mount Carmel. When the temple is around, you are the only place you're allowed to offer sacrifices is at Mount Moriah, the Temple Mount. He went to Haifa and he offered the sacrifices. Offering a sacrifice in Haifa is allowed as a temporary thing, but if Elijah would tell us, from now on God said you should offer sacrifices on the Mount Carmel, we would tell him to get another job. Nobody can change the Torah. There is asmachtes. Asmachtes means when the rabbis want to make a rabbinic edition or approve or elaborate or expand on a law in the Torah, they will take from the prophets, for example, what they say to know about a law in the Torah. For example, the mitzvah on Shabbat, we have a mitzvah to pleasure ourselves, right? You know of such a mitzvah?
My wife tells me.
You have to eat meat. You have to sleep longer on Shabbat. Where is this written? We say it in the prayer book. It's a quote from the prophet. Asti tanaik al Hashem, vekarata la Shabbat oneg. You should call Shabbos pleasure, a joy, a delight. Very good. That's from the prophet. Then they took it. They understood. It's the Torah tells us to observe the Shabbat. They elaborated. They developed it. That they bring it as an addition, as a proof, as a support point. But they wouldn't go and make, because the prophet said that, that's why we have to do it. The prophets, God speaks to the prophet through the prophecy, is morality, how to do, what to do in this war, what to do, general ideas, moral issues, but no changing of the law. Not one change in the law. The prophets cannot change the law. Moses, that's why it's called Moses our teacher. Moses gave the Torah. That's why we say Moses finished the whole Torah. He closed the whole thing down. That was it. That's why there is halacha leMoshe Sinai, a law for Moses from Sinai. Not a law that from Joshua. You know any laws that Joshua taught us? Joshua instituted certain things, rules. For example, when they entered the land of Israel, he instituted certain rules, what is allowed, what you can take from your neighbor, when you can walk on your neighbor's property, when you cannot do, and so on and on. But laws are only from the Bible. Rabbi Yeshua said, Lei Bashamayim, right? The Torah is not in heaven. That Reb God, with all due respect, the Torah is in our hand, and now we decide what to do. Sure, according to God's orders and rules, and he told us how to learn the Torah. What is allowed, what's acceptable, what's not. The 13, what it's called? The 13 where you say before the Odu. No.
Before Odu?
In the morning you say
13 principles.
No. 13 principles, yeah. How to learn the Torah.
Oh, that's way too early.
13 rules how to learn the Torah. There is 13 rules how you learn, how you compare, how you understand. But ultimately it's in the hand of rabbis, of human. Okay. Continue.
Rabbi Nathan met Elijah and asked him, "What did the Holy One, blessed be he, do in that hour?"
How God reacted when told them, don't interfere. That's what Reb Natan asked Elijah the prophet. He was upstairs, he asked him, tell me what happened then. Go ahead.
He laughed with joy. He replied, saying, "My sons have defeated me. My sons have defeated me."
Oh, you hear? God laughed with joy and said, Nitzchuni bonai nitzchuni. My sons have defeated me. They are strong. They were right. Basically, they're right. Go ahead.
It was said, on that day all objects which Rabbi Eleazar had declared clean were brought and burned in fire. Then
Clean means that he declared pure. Now that the halacha is not like him, then it's not pure. Then you have to, if it's not pure, you have to burn it. Go ahead.
Then they took a vote and excommunicated him. Said they, "Who shall go and
They
inform
throw
him?"
him out from the yeshiva because he didn't want to accept the opinion of the majority. Then he cannot be around.
To what extent do you think that this is also a commentary about early Christianity? Because, at least according to Christian sources, Jesus said, "This is the way it is. I tell you the way it is." It's very similar to what Eliezer was doing. He said, "I got all these miracles," and what have you.
Rabbi, maybe the people who wrote the Jesus books and the Jesus stories, they were taking it from these stories, from this attitude it was at that time. Obviously, it was an attitude. Jesus was Jewish, and he also took the same attitude. But yeah, that was what it was not accepted. That's why he was excommunicated. There is stories about this issue, but let's continue.
Who shall go and inform him? I will
Now
go.
to excommunicate a rabbi, like it's called Rabbi Eliezer HaGodl. You know, Eliezer HaGodl is there. He was the great Rabbi Eliezer. That was everything. Rabbi Eliezer was a man that he came to learn Torah on his own. He was a child of a farmer, a son of a farmer, not far from Jerusalem, an ignorant. Nobody learned Torah in the family. And he wanted to learn Torah, and his father didn't allow him. And his father every time used to tell him, "Mister, what are you so upset?" He says, "I want to learn." He says, "Forget about it. I need you to work in the farm." One day he left everything and he ran away. And he went to Jerusalem to learn Torah. And he was so poor. He joined the yeshiva of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. And he was so poor, once he came to ask a question for Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, bad smell came out from his mouth. Rabbi Yochanan looked at him. What's going on here? He checked somebody to check where is he eating, this guy. That in the dormitory they thought he's eating in the yeshiva. Basically, he used to eat dirt, sock dirt. That you can imagine what kind of a smell came out from his mouth. Rabbi Yochanan took him under his wings because he saw right away that's huge potential. and he was doing amazing in learning Torah. And the other brothers didn't like it. They told the father Urkenus, who was a rich man, to disown him. He said, okay, I'm disowning him. No, you're telling us that's nothing. Go to Jerusalem, to the Supreme Court, sign a deed, a contract, in front of witnesses, with a stamp, that he is disowned. Okay, he's going to Jerusalem. Somehow Rabbi Yochanan Mezaka heard that Urkenus is coming to disown Rabbi Eliezer from everything. It was Friday afternoon. Rabbi Yochanan Mezaka called an emergency meeting in Jerusalem. All the rich people came. It was like a dinner, a big dinner. And he said, when Urkenus shows up, put him between the three richest people of Jerusalem. Tziti Takeset, and like Dimon Ben Gurion, Kalba Savua. Urkenus next to them was not even a fish, I was like nobody. It was like sitting in little Bill Gates on the first side, on one side, Zuckerberg on the other side. Let them sit in the middle and get an understanding who is he all together. Okay, we were sitting down, the guy they brought in front, and he didn't know what hit him. Suddenly Rabbi Yochanan Zaka stand up, he says, we have a new student here, and we would like to, he should give us a Dvar Torah. And he turned to Eliezer, says, Eliezer, go up. Eliezer didn't want to speak, but he forced him. And Eliezer spoke words of Torah that they said they were not used in Moses and Sinai. That's how powerful it was. That the whole community, the whole gathering went crazy. And Urkenus saw this. And he says, I came here, he stood up and he confessed. He says, I came here to throw him out of my estate, to disown him, to disconnect him from everything. Now I want to give him the whole estate. Eliezer. Eliezer told him, give me what belongs to me, not what the rest of it belongs to my brothers. That was Rabbi Eliezer the Great. On his own became the greatest scholar at that time. The Pirkei Avot in the Ethics of Our Fathers described Rabbi Eliezer is described as a guy who is like a fountain that everything that goes in is like a pit. That you can put everything, nothing is lost, not one drop of water. Used to be the water collectors used to have cistern. The cistern who doesn't have a leak. Everything that goes in, he remembers. He learned everything he remembered. Never came all the young guys and thought, different opinion. What different opinion? That's what Rabbi Akiva said. That's what this guy said. That's what this guy.
Was the fact that he
Not
was
Rabbi Akiva.
from
Rabbi
Shammai's
Akiva was
school
something.
that had planned?
Yeah. Rabbi Eliezer was. It's called in the Talmud Shamuteu. He was one of the meaning. Shamute means he was ostracized. The other meaning is he was in the people from the. He was a Shammai attitude. I don't think he was a disciple of Bet Shammai so much. He was more strict. Everything was the way it's supposed to be. And there is no compromise. There is no place for waving. Then this Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, the great Rabbi Eliezer, had to be ostracized. And they said, who will dare to go to tell Rabbi Eliezer that he's ostracized?
Akiva.
Akiva said he'll take upon himself. Akiva said, better I should do it, because if somebody else will do it, the world might be destroyed. And such a tzaddik get upset, it could be terrible consequences. Okay.
Excuse me, it is a struggle or an argument for the sake of heaven. It sounds a little harsh to excommunicate.
No, because he didn't want to accept the opinion of the majority. By Jewish law, you have to accept the opinion of the majority. There's no chokmas.
No, halakha is the law.
Before that, that's an argument. When there is a halacha, there is a halacha. You cannot say, I have a different opinion. Yom Kippur is a day before. You remember the old stories? You cannot do whatever you want. It doesn't work like this. Even in America, if the Supreme Court, there is 6 against 5, right? The 5 have to accept the law. 5 against 4. Then the 4 have to, the minority accept the majority opinion. In an election, you elect a president, the minority will have to accept the rule. That's the way it goes. The same thing is in the Torah. He wanted to hold on to his opinion. That's why they excommunicated him.
Rabbi Gamliel later on gets excommunicated too. I mean, he's another heavyweight.
You're right.
They're excommunicating a lot of people in the early
If he got
days.
excommunicated, he loses his job for a while.
I thought he was excommunicated.
No, they throw him out from the issue. No, they just removed them. They didn't
Okay.
excommunicate him. No. He's right. Okay, continue. Finish the paragraph.
What did Rabbi Akiva do? He donned black garments and wrapped himself in black, and sat at a distance of 4 cubits from him.
It means to say wearing black is a sign of mourners. And when somebody is excommunicating, it's like sitting shiva, it's a mourning. Go ahead. Akiva.
Akiva said to Rabbi Eliezer,
Rabbi Eliezer said to him, Akiva said Rabbi Eliezer to him,
what has particularly happened today?
basically, he says, why are you sitting away? He sat 4 cubits away from a guy who is ostracized. You're not allowed to sit in his vicinity. You have to shy away from him. He says, what is happening today?
Master, he replied, it appears to me that thy companions hold aloof from thee. Therefore he too rent his garments and put off his shoes, removed his seat, and sat on the earth, while his tears streamed from his eyes.
Basically, he told them, your friends, it appears like your companions hold aloof from you. They separated themselves from you. Then Rabbi Eliezer himself accepted this ostracizing decision. He took off his shoes, and he rent his garment like a mourner, and he sat on the floor, and tears streamed from his eyes. Look what happened. The world
was then smitten. A third of the olive crop, a third of the wheat crop, and a third of the barley crop. Some say the dough in women's hands swelled up.
Basically, the world, people lost everything. Because such a great man like Rabbi Eliezer, such a tzaddik, was hurt, and he cried, then everybody suffered. It affected the rest of the world.
Okay. A Tana taught, great was the calamity that befell that day, for everything at which Rabbi Eliezer cast his eyes was burned up. Rabbi Gamliel too was traveling in the ship when a huge wave arose to drown him. It appears to me, he reflected, that this is on account of those none other than Rabbi Eliezer.
Ben Nurkinos. Rabbi Gamliel was on a ship that day, and he was a part of this yeshiva. And he saw that there is suddenly a storm comes from nowhere. And he right away understood that this is not coming, this is because of Rabbi Eliezer. Rabbi Eliezer is upset, and Hashem, so to speak, is anybody who hurts Rabbi Eliezer is in trouble. And look what he did. Continue.
Thereupon he arose and exclaimed, Sovereign of the universe,
Master of the universe, he said.
Thou knowest full well that I have not acted for my honor, nor for the honor of my paternal house, but for thine, so that strife may not multiply in Israel. At that the raging sea subsided.
He said, why I did it? He turned to God, he says, God, you can testify. I didn't do it because of my ego. Usually, why ostracize somebody? He says, I did it because he didn't want it should be 10 opinions in the Jewish people. The rabbi says, this way we need one opinion, one unified rule. He says, I didn't do it, it's not for my honor, for the honor of my family. Rabbi Gamliel comes from the house of Hillel, right? He says, I didn't do it for Beit Abba, for my father's house. I did it to make sure that there is no 2 opinions in the Jewish people. Rabbi Gamliel utilized this language a few times, in a few disputes.
Is that because of the disputes that had gone on between the House of Hillel and the House of Shammai that had just gone crazy before that?
No. It was crazy before that.
Yeah.
And Rabbi Gamliel wanted to control the situation, to make one rule, especially because it was the decay of the Christians and all of this. Everybody was pulling a different direction. You have to organize it. And he was running the Jewish community at that time with iron fist. And that's why he was removed in the end and brought back. But all of this, he said, I didn't do it for myself. I know Rabbi Eliezer is a great man, but we cannot run a community like this. The sea relaxed.
Rabbi Gamliel was the head guy at that point?
Yeah, I think so. Gamliel was that guy. Yeah.
The other guy was his master. His guy teacher was
Rabbi Yeshua was the second in command. Yeah.
No, the Hanan Zakkai.
Yochanan Zakkai was not alive then. I don't think so. No, he was gone already. Bad news. I'm not sure. we'll stop right here, it's better like this. The point is, later, before he died, Rabbi Eliezer sat by himself in isolation in the city of Lud. The yeshiva was in Yavne, he was sitting in Lud. And from time to time, he heard from disciples what's going on in yeshiva, what they learned today in yeshiva. There is many times you see Rabbi Eliezer is asking, what they learned today in yeshiva, what they learned today in yeshiva. And he used to say, that's not what your rabbis are teaching. Like, it's to put them, nothing worked, he knew everything. Before he died, he was sick. They came to visit him. He told them, what are you doing now? And he predicted terrible things to happen to the Jewish people. And exactly what he predicted happened. And he predicted the death of Rabbi Akiva. That kind of death. And he cried and he said, you didn't even took what I had so much Torah, I didn't even take like a dog is licking the sea. How much water the dog taking from the sea? Nothing. That's how much you took from my Torah. But ultimately, the halacha is not like him, because the Torah is not in heaven. Torah is given to human beings, and we have to live like normal human beings.